What's the story, Morning Glory? What is the word, Hummingbird? Thank you so much for clicking on my channel and for joining me for this review of Love and Marriage Detroit, Season 1, Episode 6, Spill the PubliciTEA. So, y'all, this show it's a good show. Okay, I will not lie about that. The show itself is really entertaining. Just about every scene is entertaining. It doesn't have a lot of lags in it where, you have a scene that's kind of boring, not really going anywhere. Almost all the scenes are action packed. They're good, right? But the people are so unlikable. Unlike Love and Marriage Huntsville, where, sometimes a couple of scenes might be kind of, why are we watching this? What's going on here? But at least with Love and Marriage Huntsville, there's people that I like. There's characters that I really enjoy watching. For example, I like Melody. I like Kimmy. I like Courtney and Stormy. So there's characters there that I really enjoy, and I'm like rooting for them, and I want things to go well for them. But Love and Marriage Detroit, y'all, I don't like any of these people. I don't like any of these people. I don't think any of these people, other than the fact that they're Black professionals, educated, and they're taking care of business, they're business owners, entrepreneurs. Other than that, I really don't admire them at all, period. But let's get into it. So this episode starts off where we left off last week. And that was at the meeting that Christina, Brandon, and Anthony were having. And I didn't quite understand why Anthony chose to meet with Christina and Brandon instead of being at Kobe's birthday party with his wife, LaToya. Like, I didn't get that at all, because I'm thinking he could have gone to the party and then he could have chosen another day to meet with Brandon and Christina. But here we are. So there's something going on between Brandon and Anthony. I'm not even sure exactly what. So Brandon and Anthony, there's like this tension between them because Brandon feels as if Anthony is trying to push him out of the showcase, because we know that Anthony is planning this man movement celebration, and one of the things they're going to have is some entertainment. And it started off where it was like Brandon was going to be in charge of the entertainment because he's the one that is I don't know, he's got this, what does he call it? I forgot what he called it. Whatever his studio is called. And Superstar, I don't know what it's called. Superstar Factory, Star Factory. I think it's called Star Factory. So he's working with all of these artists. You would think that he would have been the one to be in charge of the entertainment, but it seems like Anthony and Bravo are the ones that are taking over the entertainment. I'm not exactly sure what Anthony does, but because remember, he went to Atlanta to work with Disney Marvel Studios. But now I guess he's also an artist manager and he works with new talent. I have no idea what the hell Anthony does, but he wants to kind of be in control of the showcase. So I'm not understanding what the hell do you want Brandon for if you already have your artist and you know how you want your showcase to go. Then what do you want Brandon for? Why did you even include him to begin with? It's almost as if he included him just to exclude him. I don't know. So Brandon is feeling like Anthony's trying to push him out, because Anthony's working directly with Bravo. He's also, talking about how he has his own artists lined up and he's only going to give Brandon 3 slots for his 3 artists to perform. So Christina doesn't understand why Anthony is, number one, choosing sides between the whole Christina Kobe situation, because Anthony is clearly on Kobe and Russell's side. And number two, how come the beef that she's having with Kobe is affecting his business with Brandon? And then, Anthony talks about how, and I think when Christina asked that, Anthony was like, well, I don't like how Brandon's moving because, he's not acting right with Russell, so I don't like how, so if you don't like him and you don't like how he's treating Russell and you don't like how Christina is treating Kobe, then why are you even including them in your showcase? You should never have even included Brandon in the showcase. Like, I don't understand why you have someone in your business just to treat them bad and be rude to them and then try to ice them out. Like, I don't get that. But anyways, let's move on. LaToya and Anthony. So they're at home, and Anthony and LaToya, they're having a conversation about the friend group, and how it is like falling apart. And they believe that it's falling apart because of Christina and Brandon. LaToya, she keeps talking about how I don't like drama. I don't like people acting up in public. It's embarrassing, etc. And obviously, Anthony agrees with his wife. And so they've come to the conclusion that the problem with this friend group is Brandon and Christina, because the 3 separate events that they were all involved in all erupted in drama, and the common denominator was Brandon and Christina. The anniversary, the opulence wine tasting event, and then most recently what happened at the skating rink. So they're like, there's those 2, they're full of drama. We don't like how they're moving. So I don't know exactly what their decision is going to be. Like, you're not going to be friends with them, or you're going to have a conversation with them, because the conversation that Anthony tried to have really didn't go anywhere. So what is your conclusion? What is the solution to all of this? Moving on to Russell and Kobe. So Russell and Kobe, they're at home, and they're having a conversation about the gym situation. And Russell tells his wife, Kobe, that he's already moving towards negotiations with the gym owner. Of course, Kobe had no clue. So she had no idea that things were moving this fast, or that things have gotten this far, because Russell keeps her out of the loop. He doesn't believe that he has to consult with her first. He doesn't believe that he has to have her opinion on anything. He's just moving full steam ahead with whatever the hell he wants to do. And the reason why is because he believes that he is the head of the household, and his wife pumps him up with that. Oh, you're the head of you're the head of the household. You're the provider. You're the protector. Blah blah blah. So he's like, okay, if I'm all that, if I'm all of the above, then I don't have to consult with you about anything. But she wants to be included. She wants him to include her in the conversations before a decision is made. And I do believe he said that he was going to try to do that. Let's hope so. Christina and Brandon. So they're having a conversation, and Brandon believes that Anthony is trying to cut him out of the showcase. And his excuse is, the whole Kobe and Christina drama. He's going to use that to try to push Brandon out of this whole man movement showcase thing. So Brandon is going to use his wife now, Christina, as, I guess, as his soldier, or, as his support to try to combat what Anthony is trying to do, which I thought was really interesting, because Brandon has been keeping his wife Christina out of the loop with what's going on at his music studio, because he doesn't tell her whenever he hires a new young female artist, because of whatever happened with that in the past. So he doesn't include Christina with what he's doing at the Star Factory. I'm pretty sure he includes her more than Russell including LaToya, but he doesn't tell her everything, because she was completely in the dark about the newest artist that he had signed. So he doesn't include her on everything, but now that he needs help, or he needs numbers on his side to fight against Anthony, now he wants his wife to be more involved with what's going on with the Star Factory. So it seems like Brandon and Anthony are fighting over control of the showcase, and Anthony seems to be winning, because the showcase is part of the man movement event. And so, Anthony obviously is going to have the final say. I don't see how Brandon can have complete control of the showcase. So Brandon and Christina, they question exactly what does Anthony do that really gives him the authority to conduct how the showcase is going. I wish I knew as well, but who knows. Moving on, Kobe. So Kobe meets up with her friend Chelsea, and Chelsea comes over to her house, and she tells Chelsea about the issues that she's having with Russell, the fact that Russell really isn't including her in a lot of his decision making when it comes to the purchasing of the gym, when it comes to him wanting to go to theology school and, become a minister or a pastor or whatever he's trying to do. And she says that she feels more like a girlfriend than an actual wife. And that was to me a very sad comment. That was an extremely sad comment, that you go through this whole process of getting married, you're living together as a couple, you have a baby together, and still you don't feel like your husband sees you as his life partner, as someone who's committed his whole entire life to her. You still feel like you're on girlfriend status and you're a whole entire wife. So Kobe thinks that Russell, because he was a bachelor for so long before they had gotten married, that he is still part of, that whole bachelor. He still has that bachelor mentality. He is still not accustomed to having someone else in his space that he has to constantly, check in with and consult with and communicate with, because he's still on bachelor mode. Or it could be that he is that kind of guy who just doesn't value his wife's opinion. Maybe that's what it is. Maybe it's not him being a bachelor for so long and forgetting that he has a partner that he needs to communicate with. Maybe it's just the fact that he really doesn't give a damn what she has to say. He thinks that he has all the answers. He's smarter than she is. And that he's like, why would I even have to consult with her if I'm going to end up doing what I want to do anyway? Maybe he just doesn't respect her enough to ask her for her opinion. He doesn't value her enough to want to know what she thinks about anything, especially when it comes to business. So, and then also, when you keep pumping them up with, oh, honey, you're the head of house, or you're the head of the household, you're the leader of this family. Like, why would he have to consult with you if you're giving him the green light, to take control and take charge? And he thinks that, well, that's what my wife finds so attractive, is when I take control and I take charge. So why does he have to stop, every other step to sit down and have a conversation with you about anything? So Chelsea tells Kobe, he is a leader of the household, but you are his co-star. Honey, you can't have two leaders. The way these couples conduct themselves, it's like they can't have two leaders. They don't understand that a marriage really should be a partnership. And sometimes, the wife may lead, sometimes the husband may lead, but it's definitely a partnership. And you always have to check in with one another, and you always have to communicate with one another. That's not how they roll. These people on this show, they're a part of that home mentality, that biblical mentality of the man is the head of the household, and what he says goes. And yes, he should love and honor and respect his wife, but he is still the head of the household. So it's kind of like these women want their men to lead, but they also want their men to stop every 5 minutes and consult with them and to discuss with them. And it's like, these men don't get that. Either it's going to be one way or it's going to be the other, but it ain't going to be both. Okay. You can't have it both ways. Either you're going to explain to your husband, hey, you're not the head of the household. We both lead this home. Or you're going to let him be the head of the household. But you can't have it both ways, where in some situations you want him to take the lead, and then in other situations you want him to consult with you. I don't think it can work like that. I don't think that these men's brains can work like that. A woman can probably, but I don't think these men's brains can work that way, to be like, okay, in this situation I'm going to lead, but in that situation I'm going to consult with my wife. I don't think they can switch it on and off like that. Christina, she's meeting up with Brittany Brown. Brittany Brown is a publicist. She has her own what was the word? Not publishing. She has her own public relations office. And so Christina asked to meet up with Brittany because I think Christina wants to hire her as her publicist. So they're discussing Christina hiring her, and Christina is telling her how she's been gone from, I guess, the social media scene. I'm not exactly sure what she's been gone from, because she says, well, I've been gone, because, she had a baby or a couple of babies and she was being a mom and all this and that. And now she's back. Back to what? I don't know. I'm assuming social media. So now she's back. She's done with her little break, and she's ready to, amp it up with her career. So she brings up an incident where Brittany had told Anthony that she was going to be working with or considering working with Christina. So Brittany at some point approached Anthony because she is Anthony and LaToya's publicist as well. And I guess Anthony and Brittany were having a conversation, and Brittany had mentioned to Anthony that I guess Christina reached out to her, and they're talking about, joining up. So Anthony tells Brittany, Oh, wow, that's really interesting because Brandon doesn't even like you. And so Brittany felt the need that, okay, now she's going to have a conversation with Christina and Brandon. So she brings this up to Christina, and Christina says, you know what? I don't know what my husband says outside of my presence, but I know that if he would have expressed anything like that, I'm pretty sure he would have talked to me about it. He would have mentioned it to me. So I don't think that that's how my husband feels. So the publicist says, you know, she didn't want any problems. She didn't want any mess, didn't want to cause any drama. And so she had wanted to make sure that it was okay for her to have a conversation with both Christina and Brandon. So the publicist, to me, I mean, I love this publicist, Brittany Brown. I really liked her. I liked her because she was extremely professional. She was extremely professional, even though Anthony was trying to cause some silly high school mess. She kept it really cute. Okay. She didn't get mad at Anthony. She didn't get mad at Brandon or Christian. She was like, you know what? Okay, let me just have a conversation. She didn't take it personal. She was like, what? She said what? She said what about me? She wasn't like that at all. So she wanted to have a conversation with Christina. And the way she approached it with Christina was so professional. She even told Christina, like, I wasn't going to go to your husband directly. I wanted to make sure that, you know, it was okay with you if I did have a conversation with him. I like that. I did appreciate that. And also, and she said it because, you know, y'all are a unit, y'all are a team, and, you know, she's going to be taking on Christina as a potential client. And so she couldn't go just directly to Brandon because she wouldn't be working with Brandon one-on-one. She'd be working mostly with Christina. So to me, that made sense. And also she didn't come to Christina with, like, oh, you know, this is what I heard that your husband said about me, and I didn't like it, and I didn't appreciate it. It was just like, you know, this is what I heard. This is what he said. So I'm just checking in with you, you know, kind of like, you know, figuring out exactly what's going on. So I really did appreciate that. But Anthony was, no, that's not it, Anthony. I mean, if that's what Brandon said, I don't think, why would you tell the person he was talking about? Like, y'all are supposed to be bros and, you know, homeboys and whatever, this brotherhood thing that y'all got going on. And so your friend is confiding in you and how she feels about, how he feels about somebody. I don't know if it's true or not. I'm not saying that it is, but if it's true, if we're going to give Anthony the benefit of the doubt and this did happen, your boy is coming to you, confiding in you about something, and you feel the need to go tell the person that he's talking about. That is so classless. That is so messy. That is so dirty. LaToya, what do you see in Anthony? Moving on. Russell. So Russell is holding a Bible study class because that's one of the things that he has to do for his theology. And so he invites all three men, and he also includes Bravo. So they start off with a prayer, and then it gets messy. So Russell and Brandon, they air out their differences. Okay, they talk about the whole situation with Kobe Cat. They talk about how Russell had told Brandon, I'm going to break every bone in your body. And so they kind of have a discussion about that. And it seems like, okay, now they're back on the same page. So Russell then said that Christina had called him. You know, Christina called him directly, and I was like clutching my pearls. I was like, oh my God, a woman called a man directly outside of the presence of her husband. You know, that's just like a first for these people. So Christina told Russell that she had a conversation with the publicist, Brittany Brown, and that I guess Brittany had mentioned to her that Anthony was talking. Christina told him, the publicist told, okay, and that Anthony was talking about Russell and LaToya. So Russell, he says he was really surprised about this because he says that didn't seem like Anthony to say something like that, to talk about him and LaToya to their publicist. And I'm thinking to myself, Russell, you must not know Anthony then, because it seems exactly like Anthony. Anthony seems like the person who will go run tell that. He seems like the person who will take a piece of gossip from one person and then go deliver it to the person they were talking about. He seems exactly like that type because he likes it when other people are in conflict. He likes to stir the pot between other people and then sit back and watch the mess unfold and then be like, oh, we ain't got me and LaToya, we ain't got no problems. Me and LaToya, we good. We get along with everybody. We good. We straight. But he is the one that will, he'll be like starting the mess with other people so that other people can have conflict with each other. That's the kind of person Anthony seems like to me. And then him and LaToya can sit back and talk about everybody and be like, oh, look at Christina and Brandon. They a hot mess. Look at Brandon, look at Russell and LaToya. He likes that. And I know that his wife has to see it. So, that's how he gets down. So then Russell, after he says this, he gives his full attention to Anthony. Like he puts his elbows on the table and turns to Anthony and gives him his full attention and says, I heard you were dragging my name through the mud. So when the Black Hulk is now staring Anthony down, all of a sudden Anthony, he gets real meek. His voice gets real quiet because he knows that you don't mess around with Russell. He just threatened to break every bone in Brandon's body. And Anthony's like, oh no, now he's looking at me. So Anthony, I'm pretty sure, was scared out of his mind. So Anthony tells him, I've never mentioned your name to anybody. Anthony then says that how the conversation between him and the publicist was really about how Brandon told him that he didn't like the publicist. So now he's kind of in a way deflecting a little bit. So now he's going to pull in Brandon, because if all else fails, you can't really defend yourself. Just pull in Brandon and talk about how horrible Brandon is. So he was like, well, the conversation really wasn't about you and Kobe. Me and her were really talking about Brandon and how Brandon didn't like her, how Brandon told me that he didn't like her. So Brandon denied it. He is like, I did not say that I didn't like this woman. My wife wants to work with her. I never said that I did not like Brittany. So he was like, I don't even know who she is. I don't even know who this publicist is. Or no, that's not what he said. He says, I didn't know that she was working with you. So Brandon said that Anthony talked him out of working with Brittany. So I thought that was interesting, right? So Anthony starts off by saying, no, man, we weren't talking about you and your wife. Me and her were really talking about Brandon and how Brandon said he didn't like her. And so then Brandon denies that he said that. And then Brandon says, well, the situation is that you talked me out of working with Brittany. Like you didn't want me and Christina working with Brittany because she was already working with you and LaToya. So Brandon accuses Anthony of lying and doesn't want Christina working with Brittany. So immature. Like Anthony trying to hoard Brittany so that she can't work with Christina. This is so stupid. Anthony, to me, is just, I hate saying this because men gossip as well, but it's like he's got a lot of female qualities about him. The way he loves to stir the pot, the way he loves to gossip, the way he loves to talk behind people's backs. It's just messy. This guy is so you have nothing better to do than to, be gossiping about people. So Anthony says, so then he does what he does best. He gets loud. He gets emotional. He starts getting very insulting towards Brandon. And the whole time he's yelling and screaming at Brandon is staying cool, calm, and collected. So Anthony said that Brandon he's never made $1 million. So now he's going to try to, insult the man. You ain't never made $1 million. So Brandon then accused him like, well, you ain't made $1 million either. You've been riding on your dad's money. So Anthony goes, well, Star Factory hasn't made 1 star. Okay, how many stars have you made, Anthony? You work with artists, supposedly, allegedly you work with artists. How many stars have you made? So Russell tries to step in. He tries to diffuse the whole situation by telling Anthony, basically telling him, it ain't that serious. Calm the hell down. Anthony, I noticed that with Anthony, while he was addressing Brandon, and then when Russell had put the heat on him, he kept on looking at Bravo. I don't know if he was looking at Bravo for Bravo to kind of like dig him out of this hole, or he can't make eye contact with the people that he's having direct conflict with. But I see his eyes constantly flicking towards Bravo. I don't know what the hell that was about. So Bravo tries to refocus everybody to go back and let's talk about business. Let's go ahead and handle the business at hand and stop all this drama. So Brandon says, let's say that I did say that about Brittany. What was your motivation of repeating it back to Brittany? And then Anthony goes, well, I had no choice because she's part of my team. She on my team and I got to look out for her. No, you don't. You don't have to do that. Let these other grown adults deal with themselves and their business the way that they want. If Christina reached out to Brittany, if Brandon said that he didn't like Brittany, let Brittany find all that out by herself. Okay, if Brandon told you that he don't care for Brittany, don't get involved with that. Don't go back to Brittany and be like, hey, Brandon said ABCD about you. That is so stupid and immature. Let Brittany find out for herself. Maybe she'll find out. Maybe she'll never find out. But he was like, well, I had to tell her because she's part of my team. I got to look out for my people. No, you just wanted to be messy. So it was very unmanly. So he is supposed to be the leader of this man movement thing. He's the leader of the group, but he's running telling Brittany, oh, Brandon said this and that about you. He's going around causing conflict between the other two. But you're supposed to be the leader of the man movement. Okay. So Brandon basically says, you know what? I really don't remember saying that, but he goes, I don't feel that way about Brittany. And so they ended up agreeing to disagree because Anthony was like, you know what? If you said that you don't remember saying that, I can accept that, but don't come up here and saying that I'm lying about what you told me. Okay, fine, whatever. Who knows? So they ended their meeting with a prayer, and their plan is to just move forward and just to move past all of this, hopefully. But I don't like how Anthony's moving. Christina and Kobe. So Christina had requested to have a personal meetup with Kobe. And Kobe questions, why does it have to be in person? Why couldn't we just do this over the phone? Well, evidently phone conversations or phone communications does not work with y'all. That's why y'all ended up having this beef to begin with, because you texted her, she didn't text back. So yeah, let's meet up in person. So when they meet up in person, they get straight to it. Okay, so why didn't Christina call? So one of the things that they address is a whole Harper Ray situation. When Kobe had evidently reached out to Harper Ray, and I'm assuming she mentioned Christina's name. And I don't know if the Harper Ray people told her, well, you need to go talk to Christina if you want to work with us. I don't know how that conversation went because we don't have a Harper Ray rep to let us know what was exactly said. I have no idea. I don't know if it was Kobe going to Harper Ray saying, I want to work with y'all, and then they mentioned Christina, or did she go to Harper Ray and then she mentioned Christina and then they told her to go talk to Christina? Or did she mention Christina and they're like, yeah, we'd love to work with both of y'all. And so then she felt like, well, I got to go talk to Christina now so me and her can collab on a Harper Ray deal. I don't know how what I don't understand is, once Kobe reached out to Christina about working together with Harper Ray or collabing with Christina on a Harper Ray deal, and Christina never responded back to that text message, why didn't Kobe just move on without Christina? And you do your own Harper Ray deal without Christina. Even though y'all had discussed in the past that y'all were going to be working together, y'all are going to be collabing on something. Well, evidently Christina doesn't want to collab with you on Harper Ray. So forget about Christina and move forward on your own with Harper Ray. Like, I didn't understand why she was, sitting around waiting for Christina to respond. And then when she didn't respond, they have that confrontation at the damn skating rink. Or when Christina was like, I'm confused. Okay, then I'm going to let you be confused, but I'm moving on with Harper Ray as well. I don't understand why Kobe didn't just move forward. But anyways, so they talk about the whole, Harper Ray thing, and, Kobe says, you couldn't contact me back. You couldn't text me back or call me back when I reached out to you about Harper Ray. But all of a sudden, you have all the time in the world to reach out to my husband and talk to him about some mess about Brittany. Supposedly, telling my husband that, she heard from Brittany that Anthony was talking about Russell and Latoya or whatever that was going on with that. So you ain't got time to talk to me, but you got time to talk to my husband. So Kobe keeps telling her, don't communicate with my husband. Don't ever call my husband. And, Christina's trying to jump in and say something. Kobe really isn't letting her speak. Kobe keeps on repeating, don't talk to my husband. Don't talk to my husband. If you got a problem, you come to me. Don't talk to my husband. Da, da, da. And I do agree with Kobe. I don't think that Christina should have reached out to Russell because it just didn't seem right, because you're reaching out to Russell to tell him that Anthony was talking about him and Latoya. I think she should have gone through Latoya, because your Latoya is your friend. And if you're going to meet with her anyway, not Latoya, Kobe, if you're going to meet with Kobe anyway, why didn't you just bring it up at the meeting instead of reaching out to Kobe's husband, Russell? You could have just brought that up at the meeting. Yeah, I didn't agree, because she's closer to Christina. She's closer to Kobe. She's closer to Kobe. Why didn't you just talk to Kobe about it? You reaching out to Russell was messy, and it was kind of wrong. As these two women are arguing, I'm watching them, and I'm just like, you know what? The reason why they're arguing like this is because their friendship wasn't genuine to begin with. These two women were never genuinely friends to begin with. Their friendship, I think, was just based on fakeness. They fake liked each other, fake acted like they wanted to work with one another. They both, pretending to not be in competition when that's exactly what they've been since day one. The reason why they're having this huge fallout is because their friendship just was not and is not genuine. They've always seen each other as the competition. They never wanted to see really the other one win. Christina probably more so than Kobe. And in the scheme of things, Kobe really didn't do Christina wrong. Now, as far as Kobe trying to copy Christina, well, Christina herself even said when her husband tried to tell her Kobe copies you, Christina even said, well, I'm an influencer and I'm influencing her. She did say that. So she acted like she had no problem if Kobe was trying to copy her, because she's an influencer, and it's a compliment to an influencer when people are copying you, because it shows that you're influencing them. So I don't really think that Kobe did a lot of wrong. My whole thing is, if you felt like Christina wasn't going to work with you with Harper, just do your own thing with Harper Ray and not worry about Christina. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. But anywho, yeah, this show is, it's a good show. It's an interesting show. But the people are just not that likable. Thank you so much for joining me. I really do appreciate it on your way out. Please don't forget to rate the video. If you like this content, go ahead and subscribe to my channel. And I'll definitely talk to you later. Bye.